Hello there. Welcome to Mobile FM. Here is a tale of Adugu and her medical doctor's son. Adugu was a young, absolutely beautiful girl who lived with her mother in a small village in Arochukwu local government area in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Adugo had lost her father when she was only 5 years old and was with the mother the entire time. And the mother struggled so much to send Adugo to school. The mother was a peasant farmer. Now, Adugo would go to school and come back and go to the farm to meet her mother and, support her mother, and they come back home together. They were very happy in their small village. When Adugo finished her secondary school, the mother never had enough money. But the mother said, "My daughter, no matter what happens, you are going to go into the university." The mother struggled and sent Adugo into the university. Adugo did so well and graduated from the university. When she went for her NYSC, Adugo met a young man who was called Kelechi and fell in love with Kelechi. Fortunately for her, Kelechi was a member of their village. Kelechi was from their village, but from a completely different clan. And they fell helplessly in love with each other. And Kelechi came home, met Adugo's family, and proposed to marry Adugo. They gave Adugo to him in marriage, and they moved over to a city. Now, in the city, Adugo got pregnant and gave birth to a handsome baby boy. While Adugo was pregnant, Adugo's husband Kelechi met with another beautiful girl that is called Tana. And Tana swept him off his feet. And he fell in love with Tana. And he was no longer in love with Adugo. He came back home stressing Adugo, who's just had a baby. Adugo was so stressed out, Kelechi would slip out and come back whenever he wants, causing problems all over to a point where he became physical only because he had fallen in love with another woman. Adugo was no longer seeing Kelechi. Adugo cried her heart out, cried her eyes out. And with the African parents, the Adugo's mother said, "You cannot leave your marriage. You need to stay in your marriage and fix the marriage." Adugo stayed in the marriage, kept, trying to fix the marriage. And at the end of the day, Kelechi moved out of the house and moved in with Tana just on the next street of where he had lived with Adugo. Now, Adugo was very devastated. Adugo never had a job. Adugo had to start struggling. This time she had to pay her rent by herself. She had to pay the child's school fee and all of that. She got a small job and she was using it to take care of herself and her son. Kelechi had stayed with Tana for over 5 years. They had no child together. On the seventh year, Tana got pregnant with a daughter, and Tana gave birth to the daughter. Kelechi started taking care of Tana's child, forgetting about his own son, Obinna, that came from Adugo. Now, Adugo continued working, trying to train the son. And Obinna finished up secondary school and got into the university. At the time, Obinna's father, Kelechi, had moved from where they were staying to a completely different city. And that was in a city that is called Lagos in Nigeria, in Africa. Now, Obinna got into the university and began to study medicine. He did so well, won several awards that Adaogu was very proud of him. Adaogu, who was called Achalugo Wine, had become so strong, had to work so hard for Obinna to become a medical doctor. At some point, Adaogu was stuck and didn't know how to continue to sponsor Obinna in school because her job was not good enough. She sold everything she had just to pay Obinna's school fees. As God will have it, Obinna got a scholarship and went to the UK. And Obinna went to the UK, finished his studies, and came back to Nigeria to practice. Now, Obinna had practiced for a while in a government-owned hospital and saved a lot of money because he had become a specialist and started his own specialist hospital right there in Lagos. And as he was working, on one occasion, they had rushed in a man to the hospital, and the man was really, really sick with, disease, kidney disease. And diagnoses were taken and everything went well. The man left. Now, the man was given some medications to go and try, and the man tried the medications. The medication worked for him for like another 3 years. Just when he thought everything was going to be okay with him and got back home, Tana made a confession to him, telling him that their 17-year-old daughter, for whom he had been training the entire time, is not his biological daughter, that she got pregnant after she had an affair with a particular man in her office. Mary belongs to another man. Now, Kelechi was so devastated. Kelechi was so devastated. Got really angry, expressed his anger. And in expressing his anger, he became a little physical. And Tana decided to move out of their home with her daughter, Mary. Now, Kelechi was left alone with the brother who had always lived with them. Because of this devastation and worriness and stress, Kelechi became sick again. And Kelechi was taken to the same specialist hospital that cared for him 3 years ago. And this time he was in a very, very critical situation. Unknowing that the specialist hospital belonged to his son, Obinna, they started taking care of Kelechi in that hospital. And it happened that his kidney had failed. 2 of his kidneys have failed. And, Kelechi's brother was in the hospital taking care of Kelechi. And then one day, Adaogu came to visit the son in the hospital, Obinna, and was told Obinna was in his office attending to a patient. When message got to Obinna that the mother was waiting, Obinna didn't want the mother to wait because he doesn't joke with the mother. He asked them to bring the mother to his office. On getting into Obinna's office, there was Kelechi. Kelechi sitting down and facing Obinna turned around and saw Adaogu and was surprised. Adaogu, what are you doing here? Are you sick? Adaogu said, no, I am not sick. My son owns this hospital. Kelechi bowed down his head in regret and tears. When Obinna found out that this man sitting in front of him was his son, Obinna decided to hand over his files to another doctor to care for him. And that was where the worst diagnosis came out that he would need a kidney transplant. Now, Kelechi didn't have the money for the kidney transplant. He didn't have the money to even get anyone to donate a kidney. And Kelechi was so sick, almost in the verge of passing, when Adaogu begged Obinna to please forgive, to tender justice with mercy, knowing that we all sin against God and God forgives us. Obinna said medically that he would forgive after being so angry and he will treat, but Kelechi will need to get a donor. Kelechi called on Tana, begged Tana to come and donate one kidney. And Tana said, I would never, ever be able to do it. And that was when Kelechi turned on Adaogu, begged Adaogu to donate her kidney. Adaogu's son said, that would never happen. I'd rather watch you pass than temper with my mother. My mother suffered with you. When things turned around for you, you decided to leave my mother. And Kelechi went round and round asking for help. Help never came. And Kelechi's son, Obinna, said he was willing to treat the father, but he was never going to source for a donor for the father. If there is anybody who is willingly going to donate, that he will do the transplant for free. But he was never going to go out of his way to source for a donor for his father. The father waited in the hospital for a month. Kelechi kept running dialysis for free for the father, while the father kept begging and crying, and Kelechi did the best that he could do. And at the end of the day, there was no donor, and Kelechi refused to get a kidney for the father, and the father passed on in their house. Now, before he passed on, he left a message that the greatest wealth you can ever acquire in your life are your offspring. No matter what happens, don't be carried away by the things of the world. Take care of your children, nurture them, bring them up so that they will have love for you. Adaogu remembered what Kelechi had said to her. When Kelechi left to go be with Tana, Adaogu cried and said she didn't have money to care for Obinna, that Kelechi should please be giving her money to take care of Obinna. Kelechi said, no, give me my son, Obinna. Obinna will live with Tana and I. Adaogu said, no, I would never be alive and let another person raise my child. And Kelechi made a statement. Kelechi said, Obinna is a boy. If you decide to train Obinna on your own, Obinna is going to come back for me. I'm his father. So if you train Obinna on your own, you will be the one who will lose at the end of the day, because Obinna will come for me and care for me. Now, it is important to understand that when you run away and leave your children, it is true that they may come for you. But there is a difference when a child comes for you for identity and when a child comes for you because he loves you. Most children who go in search of their parent when they are grown, they go because they want to find their identity. They do not go because they care about their parents. So if you're in a place where you have left your family, you have left your wife, you have left your son, you have left your children, do not sit comfortably where you are, thinking that when they grow, they will come for you. Of course they will, but they will come for identity, not for love. I hope this story brings you value. I hope you were able to learn from this story. Thank you. See you in the next episode.